Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sweet Space Podcast. And today, I am here with an old friend, Andrew P. You've seen him before. You all know him. You all love him. He's one of the greatest people I've ever met. Maybe one of the greatest. Maybe one of the greatest people ever in the world. And I know there's a lot of great people out there. A lot of great people who I've met personally. But I think I'd put him right at the top of that hierarchy. Introduce yourself, please.
Well, shit. I mean, you hyped me up so much. I don't even know what to say at this point. I think we can only go downhill from here.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I actually have to start
I'm
talking about how much I hate Andrew, and then he's going to be able to present himself.
yeah. You have to send us to rock bottom so that I can kind of
Exactly. He's
slowly
actually
roll the
he's actually
boulder
one
back up
of
the
one
mountain.
of the worst people I've ever met in my life. Maybe the
I've
worst, and
done
I've met
countless
some very
horrible
terrible
things
people.
to Noah.
Yeah,
I've really,
that's really true. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm actually
I've made
actively
him
like,
regret so many things in the past. I've been like a scourge, a blight on his very
yeah,
existence.
I'm actually
You know
actively
me.
in the process of
Yeah.
hiring a hitman to assassinate him right now.
Yeah, no, the contract's being signed up right now. I've got it marked here in fresh business like
You're
blue ink.
marking the contract that's killing
Yep,
you.
right now. Right now, I'm signing it off. I'm going to be the one to do it too. I'm not even hiring out a hitman. I'm just going through the legal process of allowing
Yeah,
myself to
I
go
just
there
I
and
just hired
personally take
you
care
to
of you.
take yourself out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they say if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. So
Yeah, it's true,
I
it's true.
figured the
And if you
best
want to get
person.
someone if you want to get someone killed, like you have to find the person with the most experience with the target. And in this case,
Yeah.
that's the target himself.
Find the person with the most experience killing the target as well. And currently, no one has experience killing you. But in the distant future, I will have had experience killing you. So I figure I'm the best person to do it because
That's so
using
true.
circular logic, I can determine that I'm going to be pretty suitable
That's
for the
right.
job.
That's not a fallacy at
I even
all.
put it on my resume that within 5 years' time, I will have killed you. And some of those people out there, the interviewers, were very impressed. They said, "When can you start?" And I said, "Well, I'll see when my schedule opens up." And that's a dominant strategy right there. You make them work on your clock, not the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you get it. But yeah, Andrew was here a few months back when we talked about dreams and we talked about the foundations of how our dreams work. This episode's going to be more loose, I guess. We're just going to talk about specific concepts and things that have showed up in dreams because some of them can be quite funny. Um, some of them can be quite funny indeed. I also, before we get started though, I do want to address something really quick. Um, it is with great shame and great regret that I say this. It's an important public safety announcement. I meant to say public service announcement. It's an
It
important
could be
public
both
service
depending on what you're about to say. I
Yeah.
mean, let's have it.
It's an important public service announcement. In the previous time I had Andrew on this podcast, we actually had an argument over horse science and whether horse science is a legitimate field. And it is with great shame, with a heavy weight on my heart, that I say that I was duped. I was bamboozled because when I was saying horse science, I was actually thinking of horse scientifics, which is a catch-all term for various different fields about experimentation on horses. And that includes stuff like horse history, horse chemistry, horse biology, horse mathematics. All of these are of varying quality. Generally, most of them are pretty good. But what Andrew was thinking of was the specific field horse science. And I was saying horse science, but I meant horse scientifics because we later found out there were horse science infiltrators manipulating my brain and trying to turn me against my good friend. Even though I am still, of course, trying, actively planning to assassinate him. But besides that, he's a great friend of mine. Um, and I think it's really important that we clarify, for the sake of the viewer, that horse science is a complete joke of a field, and should not be taken seriously under any circumstances. And it is also a public safety announcement because the lack of safety standards that horse scientists employ are constant threats to the community. It's really fucked up, actually. It's insane that they're still getting away with this in a civilized country, in a civilized world, even. So I just thought it would
And
be
I'd like
really
to break in
important
here,
to make that
if
announcement.
I may.
I would like to
I'd like
publicly
to break in here
apologize
as
as
well.
well to Andrew for arguing with him on false pretenses. I accept his claim on horse science. I am a defender of horse scientifics, not horse science, and those are two very different things. I deeply apologize, and it is with great shame. Um, uh, with that being said, I will be selling merch of my apology. So just in case you want to help chip in, give me some money so that I can repay Phantom for the emotional harm I've caused him, then go ahead. That money will not be pocketed. It will not be sent anywhere other than Phantom direct. Oh, right, Phantom. I forgot to mention what Phantom is. Yeah, Phantom is a charity that we specifically set up to award Andrew P. As compensation for everything I've ever said against him. So that's why I said Phantom just now. Isn't that right?
It could be. There's a
Yes, it could
distinct
be.
possibility.
It could be.
I was thinking of breaking in earlier. I was
Oh, of
trying to
course, of
make an
course.
attempt, but I do want to kind of reinforce as well that it is in fact a very serious public safety issue as well, because if someone were to come to me who wasn't a good friend of mine and say that they believed that horse science should be taken seriously, I would break a brick over their head and just destroy them. I mean, they would drop to the ground and I wouldn't stop. I'd
Yeah.
give them zipper punches. I'd kick them in the side. I'd turn them over. I'd stomp on their stomach and their face and all that. I'd set them on fire. I'd do all kinds of heinous, illegal, unholy stuff to them. And yeah, I mean, generally, I would just ravage their body and soul
Right.
if
You
they
wouldn't
were to
even get
say
a
those words
chance.
to me.
You wouldn't even get a
And I know
chance
that.
to start planning to assassinate him because you're just not in his good graces.
Well, it depends on who's trying to assassinate me. But if you're trying to take my life, there are better ways to do it than make me mad about horse science.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
you
you
end
could
up
use it
taking
as a
your own
rage
life.
baiting tactic, but I mean, you can only do that so much because once you say that you take horse science seriously, you've got about 5 to 10 seconds. So whatever trap you've set up, you got to spring that shit immediately.
It's like fucking JoJo where like you insult Josuke's hair and he just immediately becomes a raging bull.
Well, I
He
mean,
just
even
goes
then,
right
I
for it.
haven't seen that anime. I haven't seen JoJo's Bizarre Sauce, but I do know that in that instance you're referring to, he has to be there physically to charge at you, or at least I'm
Well, yes, he
assuming.
does.
In this
He
instance,
does.
you could say it to me over cyberspace. You could be living on Haiti and say that to me, and I'll just be there. My rage will manifest as a copy of myself at your location.
Yeah,
It
that's
takes a
true
few seconds
actually.
for it to coalesce, but once it does, it's about as physical as any other person.
Yeah, it is a really serious public safety announcement for that reason. I guess I didn't really consider that because I'm such a good friend of yours, despite planning to assassinate you. I'm such a good friend of yours that like I just would never be able to see. I'm privileged in a way. I would never have to see that fate.
Well, I think that we have a professional enough relationship that when I want to take your life as I do, I go through legal channels. I file the
Exactly,
paperwork, I go through the system.
100%.
I let you know
You
ahead of
you would
time, which
pay
is what I'm
me
doing
to
now. I
kill
give you a friendly
myself.
warning that I am in fact planning to kill you and take your charity money and the amount of charity money that you've pocketed
I
and
haven't
take it for
pocketed any,
myself.
as
I mean, I
it's
know
all
you
gone to
said that.
Phantom.
I'm assuming though, like most charity wielders, unless you're registered, you're probably going to be doing a little bit of lining, on the side. And that's fine. That's fine because I'm probably going to be taking 90 to 100% of your estate anyway.
That's
So it
true.
doesn't
I mean, the
matter how
rest of it
much
goes to
genuinely
Hatsune
goes to me
Miku.
and how much I acquire, you know, through my actions.
That is
Since we're
completely
rapidly getting
understandable.
off track here, which is fine, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Of course. So were you gonna say something after that, or was that the end of the sentence? I felt like you were setting up something there.
No, no, I set it up and I knocked it down. If you tell me that you take horse science seriously, you're not long for this world. That's all it is.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Speaking of things that are not exactly worldly, except they are worldly. I don't know where I'm going with this. Dream stories, dream concepts, dream ideas. Um, there are some things to say. The last time we did the podcast together, we were talking about the fundamentals of dreams and the rules of dreams. Like how Andrew over here, he's saying, "Oh, Well, I can't lucid dream because if I figure it out, I instantly get booted. Or if I don't get booted, I boot myself out because I'm a nasty little rascal or whatever. Or even if I don't do that, I can do shockingly little, etc., etc., etc. I mean, this is Sweet Space 101. If you've seen the previous episodes, you know this. Um, and if you haven't, well, do it. Um, but we're doing something different from that. We're just going to go over some funny stories from the dream worlds. Now, when it comes to marking dreams down, I know, Andrew, you said that you straight up write some of them as like essays in documents. Is that true, or was that like a little bit facetious the last time you said it?
No, I used to write a lot of them down, and I write them less frequently these days, but every time I do want to get one down, it's several paragraphs. It's usually an essay, and it can take multiple hours out of my day, which, being that I'm a busier man than I used to be, it's kind of less incentivizing for me to write them down, because if I want to write them down, I have to commit. I don't do half measures with this stuff. So I have to block out a section of my time and say, all right, is this dream worthy enough to jot down? And then I'll do it. And then it'll be like 3 or 4 pages, something like that.
That's really
And
fucking
the other
funny.
problem is it eats into the writing time that I have to spend, or that I wish to spend, writing my actual fiction stories that aren't dreams. They're just genuine fantasy articles and narratives that I'm stringing together. And I can't do
Of
both
which
at the
there are
same
many.
time, so.
Yeah,
But I don't need to plug that, because that would be for something else.
it would be for
Be
something
kind of a
else.
strange thing to do, plugging stories like Indomitable Campaign and all these other tales that shall go unnamed, aside from that one, on your channel to be broadcast to multiple people
It
who
would
aren't
be
familiar.
extremely weird. Um, it would be incredibly weird, and I would never let that happen. I would shoot it down dead on the spot if you ever came to me
Yeah,
and
and
suggested that.
I think if I were to do that, you should remove that from
Oh,
the recording
100%.
before you upload it as well.
Absolutely. It should never be included. And if I do include it, it
Yeah.
will be completely by mistake. But yeah, for me, it's a little bit less sophisticated than that because usually I kind of just log on to Discord and shit all the details out in a bunch of messages because I don't really have the energy to write like a full essay. I already have to write actual essays for like schoolwork and stuff. You think I'm gonna write extra essays about my dreams? Well, maybe if I'm in the right mood for it. I did actually write one dream one time in a Google Doc. Not a Google Doc, I think it was Microsoft Word. Close enough. And I did format it a little bit more that time. But usually I just spam all of them, like in Discord messages. So I'm not nearly as sophisticated about it as you, but I do, generally speaking, try to jot down the main points. At least if the dream is notable enough or funny enough, because I do get some like recurring dreams that aren't really worth like writing down multiple times. Like if I get the same dream about like last time I mentioned the moose dream, once you've explained the basic concept of the moose dream, like there's nothing especially notable to be gleaned from that or to be gained from like continuing to describe it over and over again. So I never wrote down the moose dreams. But whenever there's something that's like at least a bit unique, I do tend to write it down. I don't know about you.
Well, it's possible that one of the differences between what we're doing and the details we're writing down is that you're describing visible, tangible details of your dreams. Like with the moose dream, when you told me that story, I kind of got the impression that you were describing the visual sensations, a rough estimate of how you were feeling, but mostly just giving a sort of generalized overview of
yes, a
the
summary, a
piece by piece
synopsis.
elements of, yeah, exactly. Like almost a Cliff Notes version of what you were seeing. But you would be hard pressed to communicate what your senses were taking in, the colors of the scene, all that. And it's hard for me to do that stuff too. But generally, when I take down my dreams, I get into why I think this thing is showing up, where it might have come from, what I'm feeling, and why I might be feeling that, and whether I think what I'm feeling is actually in contrast to what I should be feeling, and maybe why that is. I explore it from multiple different sensory, diegetic, and non diegetic angles that
So it is.
aren't actually present in other stories that I write that don't involve dream logic. But it means that just a simple act of stepping into a room has so many different spiraling meanings because I feel a certain way and the room is a certain way, but then the room changes into something else and my feeling on that changes as a result, and then I can speculate into why that happens. But it's like writing, but 4D chess writing. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here by saying that. It just definitively is a divergent style of writing than
Oh yeah,
the way I would
100%.
write for a classic story.
I think. I guess it is really the difference between like a synopsis and an essay. You seem to be delving deep into the meaning of things, and sometimes I do ask these questions about like why is this specific element of the dream in there, but like I'm not that concerned with that stuff because from my perspective, if I'm going to go back and analyze the dreams later, the utmost priority is getting the actual details onto Discord or onto the document in rare cases. Just that I remember what happened, and then I can think about what happened afterward. That's kind of what that's kind of how I view it. I don't typically go back and analyze them, but like I do have all the details, or at least most of the details, and I do make observations about them after the fact sometimes. I've also made peace with the
Unless
fact that like maybe some of the observations are less accurate than they could have been if I'd done them with the feelings that I was still carrying over from the dreams. But I don't really tend to get like those esoteric feelings as like a leftover. I kind of just remember the bones of the dream and then have to work from that. You know what I mean?
so even when you wake up, you have kind of the skeleton of the dream, but you don't remember all of it.
Yes, that's correct. Sometimes I do remember certain images and like scenes quite vividly, or even certain like dialogue, if you could call it that. Like I remember specific quotes that people made, pretty well, but I don't remember like, but it's very hazy, and I don't remember the exact sensations I was feeling. It would be a better way to put it. I do remember some of the more minute details, but I don't like actively analyze my dreams inside my dreams per se. Unless I have one of those like interlayered dreams where like you're dreaming within a dream and whatnot. But that's like its own like basket case.
Oh, those get fucked up. I've had so many
Oh
instances
yeah, those get fucked
where
up.
I have
100%.
dreams, and then in the dream, I'm worrying about how I would remember enough of the dream to copy it. Or I hear some visual or read something, and I say, "Wait, is there a way that I can like print screen on this and take it with me when I wake up?" And then I have a dream about waking up and trying to do it and succeeding, which makes it all the more disappointing when I wake up in real life and then I try to do it and I fail.
Oh yeah, no, that's happened to me before. I've actually had a recurring dream at least a couple times where like I have a double dream, and in the double dream there's like a whole ass movie playing out, like an entire plot of a movie. I don't remember the details of the plot of the movie, but like there is a movie that's playing, and I'm thinking, if I was able to capture this and bring it into real life somehow, I would just get super popular because everyone would see the movie and they would be like, yo, that's an awesome movie. But I wouldn't have had to put in any work because I just copy it directly from my dream. And then in the other layer of the dream, I wake up and I try to use this bizarre technology that lets me just extract images directly from my dreams and turn them into a movie. And then profit off of them. And then I wake up and I'm so fucking mad because you can't do that in real life. It's so
We create
disappointing.
galaxies in our minds and then we burn them to nothing every time we wake. It's kind of no surprise that if dream creatures, or at least my dream creatures,
It's
realize
so
they're in a
fucked up,
dream, they get
man.
mad.
No, you basically commit a genocide every single time you wake up.
Well, the weird part then, and I told you this, I think, in the first episode, is if they know that they're in a dream, they get mad at me, but then they also force me awake with their antagonism.
It's like they know they're gonna die at some point, so why not just speed up the process now?
Or I mean,
Why not get it over with?
some of them attack me and then they wake me up, but then others, I think I told you about this too. They try to put me in a position where I sleep forever, but then
Oh yeah,
inevitably
you know
that kicks up some
the
fight or
one where you
flight,
were
and that
in
wakes
the
me up.
yeah, the one where you were in the mall and the guys were like, "This is our dream now. We are now in control," and
Yeah, we
whatever.
we have just taken total control.
It's really fucked up of them to
There's
do that. Can they really just repossess people's dreams like that? Fucking
Well,
predatory, man.
there are also other examples of that happening. I think there was one I didn't tell you about that involved a sleep paralysis demon.
Oh, you should tell me about this one because we are just doing like random stories for this episode.
All right, sure. So this is another example of dream denizen that ended up trying to be, I guess, treacherous. But the way it started off was, it started off with me lying in bed, and I think it was sleep paralysis, but it could have just been a dream about me being in sleep paralysis. That's how nutty these things get sometimes. And the first way that I became aware that there was a presence is that it felt like something was sucking on my fingers, like an octopus tentacle suckers or just like a bunch of tiny mouths.
That's so
But
fucked up.
I didn't feel
It's so
alarmed by
uncomfortable.
this. I didn't, and this the thing is, dreams, they make you feel whatever
Tuesdays.
they want. I didn't think that this was cause for concern. I felt that there was a presence, but this was just the presence's way of saying hello. If it had wanted to hurt me, it could have done something much worse.
Ah,
It was
yes,
just
the classic
announcing that it
greeting
was
where you
there.
just suck people's fingers.
Yeah, where you just lick their fingers, like deep throat them. In my
No,
culture,
no, don't
many
do
such
that.
cases,
Please
many such cases.
don't use that language.
But
No, 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 no.
you've never deep throated a finger. Yeah, I guess you'll have to bleep that one out too. Okay, so
No, no. It's I don't have to I don't have to censor these podcasts, okay? It's
look,
not like
nothing. It didn't go beyond that. So don't get upset. I'm not describing the premise of a Japanese anime. So I know that this presence
a
is in the room.
Japanese anime as opposed to the non-Japanese anime.
Yeah, as opposed to the American anime or the Russian anime.
Like you do realize that anime is literally just the Japanese word for animation. Like definitionally speaking, that's all it is.
It has more potency though if you preface it with Japanese anime though.
That's true. And there is actually a thing where like
More powerful.
animation from like China and Korea is also called anime, even though that's technically not accurate. If it's from China, it's called a donghua, but like no one really cares. If it has the vibes of anime, it is anime, you know? But it is also
Well,
extremely
see,
funny because the Japanese just use anime for every form of animation ever because, you know, it's their word for it. So if you like translate like discussions on Japanese forums, you'll see them talking about shit like South Park and SpongeBob as if they're anime. And it's really fucking funny listening to that or reading that as like an English speaking observer.
until I was around 14 years old, I thought it was pronounced Anime. I just want to put that out there so that everyone knows. You can make fun of me if you want,
That's
but I'll bite
awesome.
back.
No, it's not. I'm not making fun of you. I'm actually just laughing because that's so awesome.
No, I'm speaking in general. People can leave nasty comments, but I'll respond to them and I'll threaten to, put them in a
Yeah,
trench or something.
it'll
I
be
won't
like if
actually
they.
do it, but I'll say that I
Yeah,
will.
you'd only do it if they mentioned horse science to you and tried to plead
No,
it to be taken
that's when I take
seriously.
actual action.
Yeah, that's when things go over the
Yeah,
line, so to
it's not
speak.
funny anymore.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, nope, not at all.
I'm
So
becoming Timmy
anyway, yeah,
Tough
this
Knuckles.
to bring us back to base waters here. So the demon is in the room with me, and it's actually pretty friendly. It seems to understand certain human phrases, it's using certain human phrases like hello and greetings like that. And we have a sort of very primitive conversation. I don't remember all the details of it, but it didn't seem like it harbored any animosity. But as things went on, and I
If
felt
it
like
had
I was
been
closer and closer to waking up, the presence of the demon kind of shifted and it gradually became more overarching. It felt like the nature of our relationship was less like two friends and more like relatives or even siblings where there's now a power dynamic involved, and it felt like it was trying to assert itself in our dynamic as the stronger, more dominant entity. So it was trying to slowly convert the sort of meta narrative nature of our relationship behind the scenes into something that was more potent and in which it held more power. And then once it did that, it started trying to command me rather than make gentle inquiries towards me. And
Oh,
one of
that's
those
fucked up.
commands
That's really
was that I
fucked up,
sleep
man.
forever.
Oh no.
And it would
And then it started
alternatively,
and then it started licking your toes, and that's when you knew it was fucked up. I mean, licking
it started with the
fingers,
toes,
licking
moved up to the
fingers,
kneecaps,
that's
and
a
then it went even
friendly.
higher. I said, no, no, no. And I woke up before. No, that didn't happen, but that'd be fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a friendly gesture to lick people's fingers, but you know, when you get to the toes, I mean, that's when things start going very, very wrong.
It's considered polite to get each knuckle, maybe one lick around the wrist, do each of the ribs as well, the right clavicle, the left clavicle. But once you do the toes, you're crossing a line.
Yeah, and not
You
the
don't do that
elbows
kind of
either.
shit.
I mean, that's really fucked.
The elbows, I think the elbows are fine. I don't really have a problem with the elbows. I've seen
Okay, maybe
people
not,
in the
maybe not.
subway
I
licking
guess the
the
elbows is a bit
occasional
of an
elbow.
acquired taste. I do know that like the funny bone though, like that's a really sensitive spot for some people. You have to
Yeah,
have
no,
like a
no.
really, you have to have a pre-established dynamic where that sort of thing is okay. Like you can't just go about doing that randomly.
Some of those hoodlums out there, they're messed up though. They find people, especially elderly, the weak, and they lick them in the funny bone. They get the tongue right between the bone.
Oh, that's
It's
really fucked.
disgusting. If you've ever, yeah, it's disgusting. And they
Yeah,
belly button them too. They do
they
the
ought to
other
be
thing where they take their
ashamed.
finger
They
and
ought
they
to be
stick it
ashamed,
right in their belly button and they spear them through. It's
dude. That's
terrible
that.
what
They
our
ought to be
cities are turning
ashamed.
into.
They ought to be ashamed of
This is
themselves.
Biden's America. This is what he
That's
wanted.
true. That's true. You know, I've personally gone around the city in my very expensive limousine. It's one of the most expensive limousines in the world. Very, very rich car indeed. With a very, very great driver. Love him. He's a very good man. I've talked to him many times, but I've personally seen many times going through the city in this very expensive limousine. I have actually personally seen instances of these people going up to the elderly, the patriotic Americans, and just licking their funny bones and using the belly button maneuver on them. And we can't be having that in the United States of America, not in this civilized country. It's just not part of our tradition, and we can't be having it anymore.
No, no, it's not good. It's not good. Our proud American values are being denatured, dissolved away by hoodlums, people of various ethnicities, races, and practices. Okay, not to name any names, but they have long fingers and devilish eyes, and they prowl our streets. They look for the infirm. They look for the youthful. They look for anyone that they can find, anyone that's prey, and they put their tongues in their funny bones. And they put their fingers in their belly buttons. They try to pull out their clavicles. They get them around the neck, they slam them into the ground. They say horse science is something to be taken seriously. They say all these nasty things on the news, on YouTube. I've seen so many nasty things said, some of the nastiest things any American's ever witnessed, and I've had too much of it. I've had too much of it, and I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah, and when he puts his foot down, he's absolutely putting the foot down with a shoe on it, because then if he's not careful, if he doesn't have a shoe on his foot, you know, he might get his toes licked.
But what? When I put my foot down, I wear shoes, some of the biggest shoes. I always make sure that my foot
Very,
is
very
completely
exquisite,
covered.
very
I know
expensive
there are
shoes.
devils down there looking to suck some toes off the New York City wildlife, and I will not be fooled. I won't be taken for a ride by these people, these imps that seek to pervert us in our ways. I won't have it.
Yeah. Anyway, anyway, was there anything else to that situation, or was it just kind of like, it demanded that you stay asleep, but then of course you didn't stay asleep and whatnot?
No, it's basically just that. That was the end of it, really. It
It's kind of depressing,
alternated between
honestly, the fact
demanding
that
that
it.
I slept and kind of laughing at my attempts to wake up, even though at this point I probably couldn't have stopped waking up even if I wanted to. And I'm
That's
not even
true.
saying
It's
that
not
I
only.
did want to wake up. It just felt like the natural reaction, the way a river flows. The dream was just reaching an end point.
That's true. Yeah, no, I mean, it's honestly a bit depressing. Like, you guys started off as such close friends, and then, like, And then it just took advantage of you, man. Like it just established this like deep set dynamic and then twisted it and made it evil. And that's not okay. Like we can't be
Well,
having these things.
it's funny that you say that because this dream was one of the weirder, more in-depth ones that also came with a whole bunch of background lore. And I received an impression about the nature of our encounter and the nature of the demon that put it in an entirely different light. And this is kind of what I talk about when I say that I need to really get in depth with my dreams and their descriptions, because I can have flashes of impressions that are ultimately paragraphs of explanation that I can't even say how I got, but that I believe wholeheartedly, or at least did believe wholeheartedly upon waking up from the dream. And one of the impressions that I had was that this demon was not even a singular entity, nor was it deliberately evil and sinister. The demon, and possibly every sleep paralysis demon for all I know, is a
The
colonial
hive mind.
organism. It's a collection of swarming entities, and they are attracted to people who are in a limbo state between dream and wakefulness, because the absolute reality of wakefulness is toxic to them, and the inherent chaos of dreams is unsustainable for them. So they want a middle ground. And that's why they congregate like ants detecting food around people who have sleep paralysis. And I want to say again, I'm not saying any of this is necessarily true. This is just spur of the moment eureka that I had when I was in that dream, that all of this was potentially true and that I
Right.
wholeheartedly believed in the dream.
Yeah, I
So,
actually have a friend who once had a dream where they saw like a many-eyed, like really elaborate looking creature in the sky. And he told me that in that moment when he looked upon the creature, he was 100% sure that that was God.
well, that's fascinating in its own right, but I think that there is a subtle difference between seeing something like that and having a flash of intuition that it is X, Y, or Z, and having the experience like I had and having a flash of a much more complex, multi-layered situation, which there's this whole ecosystem of this creature that did not previously exist in our cultural database. Like we can't just look at it and say this is God or this is Satan. I'm looking at this force and I'm breaking it down into all these constituent components. But to sort of continue from that, the demon itself being made of a swarm of entities wasn't even a sapient entity. It just interacted with me and approximated a sapient entity because it was mirroring aspects of myself. And then the longer I interacted with it and the longer I stayed in a limbo state, the more of these insects that represented these swarming entities that represented the demon would congregate around me. And the more of them there were, the more stronger and more potent the demon's influence was over my own, because the balance of life was shifting. So it became more aggressive and more domineering and more potent because there was simply more of it in that instance than there was before. And there was only the same amount of myself. So it naturally became an overbearing part of our relationship. But all of its actions were essentially instinctual. My limbo state was food to it, and it wished to preserve that food and eat from that, platter. And if those things were gone, then it wasn't fed.
There was
So
a
that's
level
why it
of
was acting aggressively.
there was a level of symbiosis that it desired and needed, is what you're saying. And you were offering that symbiosis at first, but the closer you got to waking up, the more aggressive it became because that symbiosis was threatened.
Yeah, that's a part of it. But then the other part was that more of the demon's presence existed the further we went because it was able to grow and nourish itself off the food, and more entities were attracted to the location, which bolstered it because it itself was made up of a bunch of separate entities. So it naturally was inclined to be more aggressive, and then
Uh
at the
huh.
same time, its food source was threatened. And
Makes
all of this
sense.
is just stuff that I knew and did know after waking up and had to write down,
That's the
which I thought it was
intumbral
fascinating.
data as discussed in the previous episode.
Yes, good eye, or I should say, good good mind. He picked
It's
up on
like a
that.
good ear, really, but yeah.
Well, the ear is just one part of the process. You know, it's a bunch of different things working
That's
in tandem.
true.
Give yourself a pat on the shoulder and a pat on the hindbrain and maybe a pat on the Broca's language center, you know, in the Wernicke's
Exactly.
area. Give that a solid caress
Yes.
as well. Stay away
Of
from the
course, of
toes.
course. Yeah, stay look, I know better than anyone to stay away from the toes. And definitely the funny bone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I actually found that that one dream that I was talking about where I actually wrote it down on where I actually wrote it down on this document because this one was really elaborate and it took place in multiple parts. And if you don't mind, I'm actually going to narrate the entire thing. Or I'll
Sure.
narrate it
Do you mind if I
in
mute myself?
pieces. Well, you can, but you can also just butt into you can butt in a couple times for commentary just to break it up. I think I don't want to read the entire thing in one go. Um,
Fair enough.
the dream starts off where I was like in this school facility like area, and the students were all gathering inside, and for some reason, I mean this part's a bit difficult to explain because there's a movie called The Long Walk, and the premise of that movie is basically there's a bunch of these boys, and they're doing a long walk, and if they fall behind, they get shot. And the end idea is, it's supposed to show perseverance throughout the nation. It's like post-apocalyptic future America. It was based on a Stephen King story. So the one guy who doesn't get shot in the end, the guy who completes the walk, he's the winner, and he gets to make a wish. Blah 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 blah. Movie's pretty good. But the point is, I was in this school facility like area, and the major from the long walk, who's like the main guy enforcing everything, he was there, and there were like all of these students in the facility, and
There's
there
some
was a
context. There's some context. What
yeah,
is
sure,
the reason
ask.
for the major's actions in the long walk? Like, is he just
What do you
following
mean?
orders? Is it a game to him? What I'm trying to get a feel for the
I
the
think it's
premise that you're.
both because he's part of like a government that like is very tyrannical, very authoritarian. They like actively persecute people for like spreading dissident ideas. And I mean his main thing is he wants to basically have there be a show of perseverance for these like 50 boys, one from each state presumably. He wants there to be like a national event where the people can see that if you walk hard enough, if you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, at some point, you know, at least one of you is going to make it. And that's the importance of meritocracy. Uh, of course, the other 49 get fucking shot. But the one guy makes it. So,
So
in
it's
that
like a
way,
slightly more subtle Hunger Games.
yes, I think it is. And and I mean, he is also getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. As well in the movie as well. Like he's a big time like commentator. He'll actively like egg the kids on. He'll like goad them. He'll like insult them if they're not working up to his standards. He'll talk about them having balls, like as in like courage, not like the actual physical thing. You know, the expression. Like that's really his character. He's it's weird. The point is though, he's in this school with all these kids, and there's a murder suspect lying on the ground, and I'm with these kids. And the major was like, all you students, you're going to be tasked with solving the murder, and whoever doesn't say or do anything helpful in this time frame is going to get shot. So basically, it was the long walk, except the challenge was different. So, like, instead of you have to walk, and if you fall behind, we shoot you, you have to solve this case, and if you fall behind on solving the case, we shoot you.
Okay, so you were so it was Danganronpa now.
I guess.
A
I haven't
glimpse into
played.
my twisted Japanese anime.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I've never played Danganronpa. I've never seen anything Danganronpa related except tangentially, so I don't really know the plots. But I do know the basic idea, and I can see why you said that.
Yeah, I played the first 25 minutes of the first game, so I'm something of an expert.
Of course, of course. But yeah, moving on from that, I was able to escape from that situation because the dream just cut to outside the school. because that happens a lot in dreams. I tend to just kind of go from one place to another without much connective tissue. And for some reason, there weren't any guards like stationed nearby around the school, so I could just run down the field unimpeded, and I could escape via a nearby river. I should have been shot, realistically speaking, but there were just no guards there, so I escaped. And then a little while later, I was in this hall that was kind of like a Star Wars spaceship, and then there was like an unspecified Sith Lord who I just knew. I don't know how I knew this, but I knew that the Sith Lord was sent by the Major to hunt me down, and bring me back to the school, or do something like that, or maybe kill me. Who knows? And
Do you know
I
which
mentioned
Sith Lord it was?
no, it was an unspecified Sith Lord. I wrote that down, so I just know it was a Sith, and he had like a red lightsaber, or she had a red lightsaber. They had a red lightsaber, whatever.
Okay.
And
I just
ironically,
want to know if
Mark
they had like
Hamill
any
is the
markings
guy
or
who
anything.
plays. Ironically, Mark Hamill is the guy who plays the Major in the movie. So like, in the Long Walk, I mean. Um, so like he, which is kind of funny when like a Sith Lord, because he's Luke Skywalker. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Um, but anyway, Sith Lord comes to track me down. And I somehow managed to beat and kill the Sith Lord. And then I found myself on a bus, except now I had been separated from the perspective of the escapee and turned into a random spectator hearing about his story. And I distinctly remember the escapee saying something about being 29 years old, which is probably older than the Long Walk contestants in the movie and at the school. Um, but then after that, I don't remember what happened after this directly, and the dream kind of just turned into a different setting, which happens a lot. And essentially, my family and I were watching a trailer for this new Dwayne Johnson movie, and then for whatever reason, the movie involved various types of apes and monkeys wreaking havoc on a city. And then at one point, Dwayne started fist fighting a fucking gorilla. And I remember having a
That
laugh with
kind of
my
tracks
family.
though.
I beg your pardon?
I said that kind of tracks though. I could see him doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he makes a ton of movies. He actually does make a lot of movies about the jungle or about primates. Like, he made
He'll
one
team
called
up with
Like, there
Rocky
was one movie
Balboa,
called.
Sylvester Stallone,
Exactly.
fight
There
a
was
fucking
one.
silverback.
There was actually one movie called Rampage where, like, he has, like, this genetically modified gorilla. And there's, like, fucking, like, a fight scene in Chicago where, like, I don't remember. I don't think he personally fought any gorillas, but, like, he definitely had a gorilla on his side or something like that. It's been a while since I saw that because it was, like, 2018 when it came out.
Something about that, the way that you worded that is very funny to me.
The
I
way
could
that
just
I worded
imagine a
what?
guy coming up like, "Oh no, me personally, I've never fought a gorilla personally, but I've had many gorillas on my side." And then the other person he's
I
talking to is
fought
like, "Oh,
with
that's
gorillas.
pretty all right too. It's pretty respectable, yeah."
It's like it's like the average conversation. You talk about the weather, you talk about whether you fought with gorillas or fought gorillas directly. It's a common conversation topic
Yeah,
these
I
days.
put down a
It's
rhesus monkey back in '89, but nothing larger than a chimp. I gotta say, they never really cared for it. Never really tried it out.
it's like how
It's
people
nothing. My mate, he put down an orangutan, two orangutans actually at once on Christmas Eve.
it's like how you have like middle-aged men bragging about like the fish they catch and like how big the fish they catch are, except it's like fighting gorillas and monkeys.
Well, yeah, the one who has killed the most and largest gorillas obviously is the dominant alpha male. They have to sort out the pecking order.
That's so true. Yeah, he was fist fighting a gorilla. And I remember having a laugh with my family about how unrealistic that is and how you absolutely cannot fist fight a gorilla and win, even if you're The Rock. Now, I would amend this statement to say, you cannot fist fight a gorilla and win if you're a beta male. If you're an alpha male, you absolutely can. And you
Or a
should even
scrambler
try it.
male.
Yeah. This is a public safety announcement. You should start fist fighting gorillas. Nothing bad will happen to you. It's a public safety announcement because of how safe the activity is.
It's a public safety announcement for gorillas because you've now endorsed people fighting them.
That's so true. Yeah, don't actually fight gorillas. That was a bit. But then somehow we all ended up at a beach with a large crowd of people, And apparently that was still in the movie, except now we were in the movie. And we randomly acquired these drug syringe weapons as this booming voice from who the fuck knows where. I assumed in the dream it was from the government, but like it was disconnected, as in like we were hearing it from everywhere. So for all I know, it could have come from like God or something. And then the voice announced that all of our problems were to be blamed on. I don't even remember. I don't even remember like what they said exactly, but like somewhat like pterodactyls, like the dinosaurs. Um, Apparently
I think that tracks
pterodactyls.
too. I think that needs to be actual real world policy. We should start blaming more problems on pterodactyls.
That's
It's
true.
an
I mean,
easy solution.
you got to think about the bureaucrat dinosaurs are always slowing everything down, and the pterodactyls are like the worst of them. You know what
I
Briggs
think
was saying in War of the
specifically
Worlds
though,
2025. I mean,
we have to bring
he
it
put it very bluntly.
we have to bring it deep within the nomenclature of our lexicon that we blame pterodactyls for things that they couldn't possibly have had any impact on. Death, if your child dies, it was probably pterodactyls. If there's a potato or crop famine, it's probably pterodactyls. Outbreak of measles, well, you know who's to blame there. Your son got
Exactly.
picked on at school, it's those fucking pterodactyls, man. They're at it again.
Yeah, you piss and like the piss kind of like goes a little over the bowl. I mean, that was the pterodactyls, man.
Yeah. That was them. They were flapping their wings and they created an air draft and it got into your house and it affected you. You should file a suit.
Exactly. You should file a
Complain.
lawsuit
Do
against the
something. Be
bureaucrat
somebody.
dinosaurs. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
The bureaucracy of the dinosaurs is very slow moving though, so you might not get very far with that, but it's worth trying anyway. If you just make
The
enough
human
complaints, it'll clog out
bureaucracy,
the
though.
system.
Human
Yeah.
bureaucracy is a little less slow, so you might get
Yes.
somewhere within your lifetime.
Yeah, many great people are saying this.
As
We need to
they
make this
should.
official government policy. We need to start blaming pterodactyls for everything. Like you know how like
I'm
people will
gonna
be
start.
like, "Oh, my child had an allergic reaction or like got sick from something. It was probably the
My
vaccine." Well, it's
child
going to be
broke his
like that
leg.
except pterodactyls.
Yeah, pterodactyl tripped my child. That's why he has a broken leg. And then the
Yeah, the other
pterodactyl
day,
sucked his toes and did all this nasty stuff.
yeah,
It's really bad.
next day Andrew Wakefield comes out and he was like, "I was totally wrong about the MMR vaccine. It was just pterodactyls all along. Those were the real culprits."
And then he bends the knee to the superior Andrew P. And then I
Exactly.
graciously accept his offer to become king of the Andrews. And I blame the pterodactyls for the fact that I was not that from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Happy ending. Cue the
That's
big circle comes down, the Looney Tune circle. I say that's all, folks, and I wink, and that's it. Roll credits.
exactly. But yeah,
All right,
because we were
continue.
blaming the pterodactyls for everything, the government told us to go around stabbing them, or the voice that was apparently the government, just stabbing them with the drug syringes because inside was an instant kill drug. And also the voice was like, I think this is kind of particularly funny. The voice was like, feel free to also kill the weak among humans or kill yourself if you're ill or whatnot.
Yeah, they just slipped it in.
The way I worded this is like especially funny to me. It's like they were like, "Oh yeah,
If you
feel free
wanna.
to do that."
Yeah, if you're feeling it, I'm not gonna stop you. Go ahead.
You don't have to. It's not like an
That's
obligation or
raw.
anything.
That's
But like,
fucking
if you,
raw,
I
actually. Yeah,
mean,
I like that.
if you ever feel like it, I mean, why not, right?
Very mask off.
It's so casual, which is like the best part. And I also wrote here, his shit was honestly
That-
really fucked.
Yeah, we're giving out guns to everyone so they can defend themselves from robberies. But I mean, if you see someone
Not guns, instant
and
kill
you
drugs.
really want to shoot them, like you can. It's fine. Like we'll look the other. We'll turn the other cheek.
That's exactly what it fucking was.
It's a holiday. Come on, it's a federal holiday. No one's gonna care.
That's exactly the fucking energy I remember from the dream too. Yeah. Yeah, shit was really fucked. And instead of killing anyone or anything, we just kind of got in a bus and left for home. That's me and my entire family, for the record. Just in case you forgot. I think I remember like remarking that the pterodactyls were being treated as a scapegoat so the government wouldn't solve the problems. Like I was like
That
performing
sounds
like
a lot like the scenario we just conjured up as well, and a lot like real life in general. Fantastic! Wow, this is.
I was like performing intelligent like political analysis in the middle of the dream.
Yeah, wow, look at that. Good stuff.
And then once we got home, because things were going very wrong, like we tried to grab as many resources as we could, and we prepared to head up to our cousin's cottage, which, you know, in real life, we've actually had discussions about this, and we figured it's a great place to camp out if there's ever a zombie apocalypse. And then for some reason, my youngest brother decided he wanted to take a car and drive somewhere else. And so I went with him to protect him and laid down a bunch of rules for the trip. But then we just lost the vehicle, which turned into a bus midway through somehow. And then it just kind of started,
Is
and
that
then we just
why
kind
you
of started
lost it?
walking. No, I don't think that the car turning into a bus was the reason we lost the bus. That kind of happened afterward. I
It
don't
just
really
was
know.
another thing. Okay.
No, wait, it didn't.
These are
It just turned
separate,
in.
you know.
It turned into something that was like indistinguishable from air afterward. It did like a second transformation, and then we just couldn't see it. And that's when we
I
lost
said
it.
this wasn't even my final form, and then it fucking evaporated.
It turned into air molecules. I mean, air molecules
Yeah.
do move, so like they're
Many
vehicles
people are doing this.
like they're vehicles in some sense. They're the vehicles that make life
Yeah.
work.
Look, I can drive in all directions. Look at that.
Yo,
Kinetic energy.
dude, that's so deep, dude.
Yo, pass me
If
that
you think
goblin
about it,
head
like,
bong,
if you
dude.
really think about it, dude, like air molecules, they're kind of like they're kind of like little cars or like little planes even, because like they go like they kind of just like fly around like little planes. If you really think about it, they're kind of the same thing. It's kind of crazy how life
Dude,
works like that.
when we like look at stuff, we're emitting photons and they're bouncing off the object and then off our eyes. We're like basically shooting lasers all of the time,
That
bro.
reminds me of a fucking meme I once saw on like Reddit where like a
Oh,
guy was like
oh man. Oh, it's
that
crazy.
reminds me of a fucking meme I once saw on Reddit where a guy was like, I raise my hands to block the sun from my eyes, which means I'm basically scaling at star level and I have faster than light plus speed because I'm blocking the photons from hitting my face directly from the star. It's like a power scaling parody. Yeah, I actually do believe that all humans are fundamentally star level and faster than light plus because they can block photons from hitting their face from the sun. That's so true.
At 300 milligrams, I might think the same thing.
Dude, we're faster than light plus, dude. We're star
Yo,
level,
dude,
dude.
new game plus, man.
It's crazy, dude.
Whenever you die, you get an option to do New Game Plus. You get reborn with all your stats and your weapons and your armor.
That's so
Dude, you can
true.
block the sun faster than ever before, man.
But yeah, anyway, once my brother and I lost that the vehicle, we just started walking. And I think I wrote down specifically one moment we were on the bus and next moment we were not. So I don't remember what happened to the bus specifically. I like the implication. I like the headcanon we've come up with where it just transformed into air as like its final form. So I'm gonna go with that. And then we ran into this random woman who tried to absorb us into some underground cult like nation in air quotes. And she was forming that. And there was also a whole facility underground with this nation, looking like a 70s office building. And I don't remember what we said to each other, but I got her permission to leave back home with some sort of slip, the contents of which I'm utterly clueless about. So we were able to go back to our house and help the rest of our family pack. So we arrived at our cousin's cottage shortly thereafter, but we immediately ran into a problem when, I guess for whatever reason, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad just showed up trying to stir shit. So I kind of just immediately stabbed him with the instant kill drug multiple times, and he died on the spot. And then I also remember freaking out about the fact that we had a dead body on our hands and we had to hide it. And then that whole situation just got dropped anyway because the dream transitioned to a bunch of other like confusing shit I barely remember. There was like a Technoblade video, there was Minecraft Bed Wars, and then there was other random things I don't recall. And that's basically it. So this ends with me brutally killing Gus Fring from Breaking Bad to protect my family with an instant kill drug provided by the government.
Which was originally designed for pterodactyls that
Yes.
might not even exist.
Yeah, it might not even exist.
I would say
I like how this
Gus
implies
Fring was.
there's a distinct possibility that pterodactyls are still alive. Like they might not be
No,
extinct,
there's a
guys.
distinct possibility that they lied in order to get you to kill people who were ill or infirm. What? The government is evil? Oh my god.
I love the implication that they had to make up specifically pterodactyls so that you could just kill poor people. Like, you'd think they would make up
Yeah.
literally anything else.
I think that what they did was right. I'm in support. I think that it's good to
But it's
blame
not even like,
pterodactyls
but
and
it's
then
not
use
even
that to
like,
further your own sinister agenda, your sinister non-pterodactyl agenda. It's classy.
yeah, but the thing is, it's
That's
not
the
even like
foundation.
the end goal of the government was to get like poor people and like ill people killed or whatever, or even to get like what was it that I said here again? The weak among humans. It wasn't even to do that because the government tacked that on as like a side note. They were like, oh, and if you feel inclined to do this, go ahead. But that's not the
Well,
main
that's how they
point. We want to
get
go
you.
after
They
the
slip it in.
pterodactyls.
They put it at the bottom of the end user license agreement so you don't see right before you sign.
Right, that's actually true because a lot you say that like it's a joke, but that is legitimately how like a lot of dictatorships did it. Like
Oh, all my jokes have some truth in them. That's what makes them funny.
it's true. It's true. Um but you took this yeah. The quote "we ran into this random woman who tried to absorb us" is a pretty good quote out of context. It's really
Yeah,
powerful actually.
it is. But she didn't stop you from killing Gus Fring, who I guess
Well,
was like a
no.
load-bearing asset in your dream, because after you killed him, everything falls apart.
Yeah. No, Gus Fring was the collective tissue or the connective tissue, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
mean the woman
collective
wasn't
tissue.
the
The
woman was
coalition of tissue. He adjusts his tie. I am the centralized tissue, the core organ.
That's so true. Yeah, I mean the woman wasn't really there. Like the cult woman wasn't there to stop me from killing Gus Fring because my brother and I had already left that place. So she wasn't going to show up
Exactly.
again. I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to apply this logic to the dream when like there's nothing logical about it whatsoever. But like
I
there you go.
Yeah, I think that maybe the woman went the way of the bus. She dissolved, especially after you killed Gus. That's it.
That's true actually.
Nothing
Yeah,
else.
I think she dissolved into mere shapes right after I walked out.
Your shapes. She was reduced to
Oh, just
geometry.
like the bus, just like how the bus went away, but the bus went away just a
Exactly. That's what
bit.
I'm saying. She went the way of
The
the
bus
bus.
calculated the time. The bus calculated the time wrong. It was supposed to dissolve right after I left the scene, but it miscalculated and dissolved too early. So I was still there. So I was still there with my brother, and the bus just like disappeared on us, and we didn't figure that out. It's like a glitch in the
The
Matrix.
bus the bus determined that its time of death would be now, and then it immediately wiped itself off the plane of existence. That's that.
It's actually really fucked up because if things just dissolve right after I leave them behind in dreams, then if you think about it, I actually just successfully killed all the pterodactyls and all the people the government wanted dead by leaving without
And
killing
the
anyone.
government. And the
Well,
government
yeah, that's
itself.
true. That's true.
There you
I
go.
mean, I didn't actually
Who's the
kill
bad guy
anyone
now?
except Gus Fring, obviously, with the instant kill
Yeah.
drug. But because we all left and we left at a secluded place, every single person went out of our vision, which means we just committed like an omnicide. It's really
Instant
fucked
kill
up.
drug has the same kind of energy to me as Batman with prep time.
It does. And there's
Like,
so
who
many
would win?
ridiculous.
It's like,
Oh,
who
there's
would win? 5-star superpowered Ultra Mega Ball Vegeta or instant kill drug?
that's not the first of those weird concepts and weird little doohickeys that have shown up in dreams and like weird little concepts in general. I get that stuff all the time. At one point, an asshole scientist in a dream threw this thing that I could infer from intumbral data was called hepatitis powder. And that was just a thing that was casually just established in a universe. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just powder that carries hepatitis viruses, and it was just flung in my face. I don't know why. I don't know to what end. I mean, what was that? What did that scientist want from me, man?
I don't know. I mean, I know
That's the
hepatitis
sort of
powder is
mal.
pretty good, but I feel like instant kill drug is just so much better.
Oh yeah, it's really
You really
potent.
can't beat it. You can't. It's so
I
potent.
mean, that's sort of medical malpractice. You expect it from horse scientists, but I don't think that guy was a horse
I
scientist, you
don't think
know?
they're
There were
competent
no
enough to build an
there was
instant
no
kill
horse.
drug.
There was no horse involved in that scene, so like I don't think it was a horse scientist. I'm talking about the
I have to
hepatitis
look.
powder here, not the instant kill drug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That does
I
seem like a
agree. The
medical
horse
potion.
scientists could not make an instant kill drug. It's not within their repertoire. They just don't have it in them.
Repertoire.
Speaking of random,
Is repertoire.
my bad, my bad.
All right, I forgive you.
Speaking
He's
of
my
random
benevolent.
concepts that have shown up in my dreams, I actually have created a character from my dreams before, in actual roleplay. And that character is Howard Slane. If you don't know the story behind Howard Slane, I'm going to quickly explain him. Howard Slane, one time I had a dream where I was watching like this TV show. It was like a superhero cartoon type thing. Or maybe it was live action. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like somewhat superhero themed. Except the titular superhero was just a teacher named Howard Slane. And he's his only. I don't even think he had superpowers per se. His whole gimmick was just he's a teacher. He's named Howard Slane, and also he really likes butchering animals on the side. So he has like this really like potent butcher's knife that he uses to butcher animals. But he's mostly a teacher, and what he does in the show as well is sorry, what
I
specifically
just
are
like
you
the way that
laughing about?
you contrast these two things. I'm a butcher. I love to brutalize animals, but I'm mostly a teacher. Oh, that's great. Okay, when can you start?
Yeah, no. I mean, he's mostly a teacher. It's just on the side. He loves to just butcher animals for fun, as you do. Um,
Yeah.
and also, Howard Slane in the show that I was imagining while dreaming was locked in like a perpetual conflict with like the villain, with like the arch enemy, of him, and the arch enemy in question was I I legitimately remember almost nothing. There was a superpowered child, like a superpowered boy, and his name was just the Caveman. I don't know how that connects whatsoever, but I know for a
That's
fact his
frightening.
name was the Caveman. But he wasn't a man. He was like a boy. He was like a teenager, and he had superpowers, and he was trying to like destroy the world or take over the world or something sinister like that. So Howard Slane would routinely go out to fight him. And that was the premise of the show. At one point, I think I was watching a specific episode, or maybe I was like transferred into the episode, like my point of view was in the episode, because that happens a lot too. Um, so at one point, Howard Slane almost killed the caveman, even thought he'd killed the caveman, or maybe just beat him. But then the caveman snuck like some redstone, like from Minecraft, just like implanted some like redstone ore in Slane's leg and made him like slowly get sick and like deteriorate. And then the caveman won in the end, or something like that. That was like what was implied by the dream.
What the
And then
hell? He
eventually,
put redstone in the toe?
not in the toe, just
That's
in the leg.
disgusting.
I don't think the toe.
Okay. All right.
I
Well, at
don't
least
even.
he's has
I don't
some
even.
tact.
I don't think the caveman would ever even go that far. I'm gonna be honest with you. But after the fact, because I remembered Howard Slane and the caveman and I wrote them down, I've actually revisited them and I've made them roleplay characters. So Howard Slane is now like a consistent presence that shows up in some of the roleplays that me and my friends do. Um, and his main gimmick is he's exactly what I just said. He's a teacher, but he also butchers animals on the side. But he also has a superpowered knife where, like, the more people or animals he kills, the more he gets a stat boost. So that leads to some interesting fights. Like he just sometimes he can straight up chuck the knife around like a boomerang, and it just like takes out multiple people at once, and then he just gets like a rapid stat boost from that. And then the caveman's also in the roleplay, but he's a bit different because the caveman was a bit more vague. I changed him so he's like a massive golem that like shoots out Minecraft TNT and is powered by redstone instead of like a super powered kid because I thought that would be like a bit weird to translate into roleplay. Um, but yeah, That's an example of me just taking concepts from my dreams and then making them actual characters. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that. Have you?
I may have, but I don't have any specific examples I can actively think of. I don't think there have been any distinct character. Oh no, wait, there is one, but it's like so niche. I don't even know if you would remember.
Well, you can go
In
ahead. Just tell
Okay,
it like it's
well,
the first
in the
time. There are also
in
viewers to this, by the way. So, like, if you're going to tell something like it's the first time, like, it'll be helpful to them, too.
okay, well, in the Violet Dot roleplay that you have some familiarity with, there's
Right.
a store owner that I made as a joke, but then I finally actually made into a real character in the RP. And there's just a bunch of different customers that I have come up. And one of the customers, their design and personality is almost one to one with something I had a dream about. I mean, they're from a character from a dream who's basically just a little hooligan child. And I can share a picture with you, but no one who sees this is going to know that picture. So I don't know if I should even bother.
Oh, I'm not even gonna edit it into the episode, so you don't need to do that. I mean, you can do it just for me if you want, but like,
Sure, I can
sure.
do
I mean,
that.
the world is your fucking oyster,
Get your
man.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, you can even start
The
go.
drawing itself is relatively nice, but this is just an example of the
Yeah,
fact that I don't really.
the world is your oyster. You can
The
do
world's my
absolutely
umami.
what the world. You can do absolutely whatever you want. If you really feel like it, on the side, you can go start killing the weak among you with the instant kill drug, or
Yeah,
also the sick. You know, just it's just an
blame the
option available to
pterodactyls.
you. You know, and blame the pterodactyls. Exactly.
Common stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
But no,
Another one
usually
that's.
I don't include
Sorry, go
characters
on.
as major element. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't include characters as major elements of my stories. I'll just if I found a dream that I thought was kind of funny, I'll incorporate some quotes from it or a niche situation into a story, but I rarely turn it into anything really big because a lot of my dreams and the concepts in them are like the things that I make up in real life, but more primitive and a little simpler, too
All right, you can
simple
out.
than I would like.
Yeah, you got to get one over on your dreams. You got to do better. You know.
Yeah.
The conscious you is superior to the unconscious you or the subconscious you. You got to show
But
him
here's the
who's
kid if you
boss.
want to see him.
Oh, I see
Posted
him.
him in the
Yeah,
chat.
definitely. I see
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I mean, Slain and the Caveman are kind of like the only two examples I can think of where I've directly ported like characters from a dream. Um, Maybe I've taken like the odd concept or two from a dream before, but like that's about it. Um, and the part that's difficult as well for me is I don't usually dream about OCs necessarily. I just have a lot of like fictional characters from media I already consume just show up in the dreams and then get reflected in them. So I don't tend to have like OCs in general that I can take from dreams. I might do it more often if I had frequent OCs, but I don't. Um, but on the topic of weird like little concepts that come up in dreams, um, this is not me, but my friend LBP, who's been on this channel a couple times for like the Among Us lore read alouds, he had a dream recently, um, where I'm not going to describe the entire dream to you because that might be a story for another time. But like, there was a guy who was. What you do need to know is that in LBP's dream, there was a guy who was looking at his phone, to check the Wi-Fi, and he saw that it was like 1600G. You know how there's like 3G, 4G, 5G? Well, he had 1600G in the dream. And then the dream also cut to that guy looking up what G means. And it does not mean what it means in real life. Apparently, it stands for Goering units in the context of the dream. If you don't know what that means, it's a reference to Hermann Goering, the commander in chief of the Luftwaffe, the German Luftwaffe in World War II. He was like one
Oh
of the
no,
top
here we
like
go.
Nazi guys. Yeah, for some reason, for some fucking reason, did you actually just make a
Yeah, I
Herman
made
Win
this on
meme?
the spot. I had to make insta kill drug a real thing. I couldn't let that slide.
Okay, but it's not said insta kill drug. It's just said instant kill drug.
Fair enough. Maybe I can
Although,
edit it.
okay, to be fair though, I think that's also me just kind of like making up the closest approximation of what was in the dream. So this might be just as much a valid interpretation, and I kind of like it better. Like insta kill drug just kind of like
I think maybe
has
instant kill drug is better than insta kill drug. I'm not. I just the way it's more wordy makes it funnier.
that is actually true. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'll
maybe
edit
you're
it.
right. But yeah,
Okay. Continue.
yeah, for some fucking reason, G in this stream stands for Goering units. So like the phone was
Yeah.
running on Goering units, which is like that almost sounds like just the name alone sounds like a fucking like roleplay concept that we would come up with. Kind of like it almost carries the same energy as something like Midnight Einstein or Rat Bathroom or Chinese Albany, which like I know you know what those things are. Like the concept of
Yeah.
a Goering unit. What the fuck is a
Oh, plug
Goering
my
unit?
show. Plug my shit. You have the excuse now.
Of course, of course. Um, I'm under I've been told that there is a show called Phantasm Malarkey. That is pretty cool. It's run by Andrew P. The name Phantasm Malarkey just kind of makes no like sense. It's not a reference to anything. Certainly not anyone's
Well, it's
name.
based off the charity name, isn't it?
Right, it's based off the charity, yeah. Because every Phantasm Malarkey episode is actually like a fundraiser for the charity. So that's why it's called that. Yeah, and the
We're
charity
raising
will
money
eventually.
to buy bread.
No, we're raising money to
I'm not
pay
gonna
for
do anything
your
with this.
assassination. Remember?
Oh no, you're raising money to pay for my assassination, and I'm raising
That's what
money to buy
Phantom
bread.
is. Okay, yeah.
Bread.
So we're both using Phantom
There
to
you go.
raise money to buy these things.
We're both gonna kill Phantom to raise money.
Yeah, you got to have a last meal before you
We
die,
have to
and like,
find out who Phantom is first, and then we'll kill him. And
we
we'll
have to
raise money.
research it. Yeah, and we want to. We also and don't
Step four,
remember. I'm
profit.
also trying to kill Andrew P. With an armed hitman.
Yeah.
So like
have a lot on
in the
your plate.
process, yeah. But we're making
Better
sure
roll out
that
those instant kill
Andrew
drugs,
P
you're
is
gonna need 'em.
is also raising money from the charity so that he can get a some bread, because we want to make sure to do
Yeah.
this humanely. Like Andrew, you need to have some food before you die. You need a last meal, and what better last meal than some bread?
So true, brother. So true, brother. I tell you, I will when I
It's
go to
not
mosque
even
this
like
afternoon, I will get down onto my knees and I will pray for the light of God to elaborate
it's not
on our
even like
plan.
it's not
I
even like
pray
toast or buttered bread or like a sandwich. It's literally just like a couple empty plank slices of
I
bread.
pray for bread, and I pray for knowledge, and I pray for these things to coincide so that I can use my knowledge to get more bread. I will build a vast temple of bread, and I don't know why I must do this, only that the voices compel me to. We're raising a lot of money for that, so thank you very much for plugging my show, letting people know about it, to fund my sick and perverse pleasures.
I actually did have a conversation with LPP about the concept of the Goering units, and I was like, if your phone has that much of an excess of Goering units, it just like transforms into a Luftwaffe plane. Like the phone just like grows wings, it just starts flying in the air. It just the Iron Cross just kind of like sprouts from it naturally, kind of like flower petals. Like like it just
A German
becomes like the
man
whole
sort of coalesces into the pilot seat, you know?
Yeah, obviously. And then of course, and then it's difficult as well because like that German man's going to start getting royalties off of your dreams from now on, because your dreams actually touched on a concept that was owned by the Germans, which is the Luftwaffe planes. And the Goering units. I mean, Goering units, that's a famously like really potent and powerful German word. So they're going to make some royalties off of that. Yeah, no, I like the idea of just like a pilot that just specifically pops into existence. Like,
yeah, and he still thinks that World War II is happening as well. He's locked into the
yeah, he's like the one
mindset.
like Japanese guy on the island who's like fighting into the 70s, except in German.
Exactly like him.
I just imagine he's actually the first thing to pop up. So like the moment your phone gets like an influx
about him on Archer.
Yeah, the first thing that happens when your phone gets an influx of Goering units, the German man just kind of like pops right next to you, just like kind of shows up, and the plane constructs itself around him. Like the position has to lock onto the pilot so that the cockpit can be designed.
I thought of it the other way around, but I think that there's room for both interpretations. We don't have to fight over it.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's not being.
Anyway, I have to go.
At least he doesn't
I'm
have to
just saying
pilot a
I have to go.
pterodactyl instead of a Luftwaffe plane. That would be really fucked up.
That would be inhumane and unholy, I think.
Exactly. I mean, which would I guess be like characteristic for the Nazis, but like, you know, pterodactyls though. I mean, that's a whole other level of fucked up. You can't just be doing that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe there were some boundaries even they wouldn't cross. Do we know for a fact that Hitler would have sucked the toes? Because I mean, we know that.
Oh,
only
that's
the
a great
lowest of the low
question.
do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
know
if he ever would.
He's close. He's close, but I don't even know if humans.
He's done some bad things, but I don't know if
he's done some bad things.
Some sweeping it under the rug. Yeah, it's a big generalization. Yeah, you know, Hitler's done like not great things. Honestly, you look at the
Andrew P. bravely comes out against Hitler.
Yeah,
you know, controversial take.
I think that Hitler is like the most milquetoast criticism. I think that Hitler did things that were not beneficial overall. I think that
you're gonna
made many
you're gonna get swarmed
policies during his reign.
You're gonna be swarmed by blue checks on Twitter.
He wasn't always benevolent with his intentions.
That's true. There was once a tweet thread on Twitter where like some guy was like cataloging how like Hitler was like secretly a groomer, like he took advantage of underage women, and all the comments were full of people who were like, "Damn, I've been hearing stories about this guy. Finally, he's getting exposed. Thank God."
It's about time we took that guy down a peg.
I know, right?
All right, so
I think that's a great note to end on.
But before I do, if you
or
want,
a great note to almost end on.
One of my latest. What?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
You can tell me whatever you want.
I can tell you about one dream that I do remember with
Go ahead.
the Hat Man in it.
Oh yeah, the Hat Man, of course.
You know the Hat Man? Did I tell you that one?
No. Not
okay,
exactly.
All right. So in this dream, like the Hat Man was the antagonist. Like firmly, he was the villain of the whole thing, and it was a whole adventure. The Hat Man did look a little different than he does in his usual incarnations, and I think.
Oh yeah, because he's like a common like character who shows up in people's dreams, or like at least the basic concept of him is.
Or in their drug-induced hallucinations. But he has his hat is more like a fedora. In mine, his hat was like a foot.
Well, that's a type of hat.
But
yes.
Yeah. But,
right. You're talking about the typical incantation.
It's commonly a fedora, I think.
Yeah.
But in
the Reddit hat,
my dream, it was like a top hat, but very, very thin, like chimney thin, and it stretched up for like 1.5 feet, and that was like his signature, that he wore a very thin, very tall hat, and he was himself a very tall, very thin man, and he had this knack for folding himself up so he could hide in tight spaces. And even when he was talking to you, he generally had his knees kind of slightly bent and his arms kind of curled up a little bit, and he looked like a mantis, like he could reach out at any point and just strangle you. It was kind of unnerving, but
I'm sure it was.
He was not actually a ghost in the dream or a specter or anything. In my dream, he was a Japanese yokai.
Damn. Okay.
Which is basically a Japanese spirit, as opposed to.
Yeah, I know what a yokai is. It's like.
Yeah.
Isn't that like kind of like a demon?
It's a yokai can be a lot of things, kind of like how a spirit can be a lot of things. I mean, this is to my knowledge.
Yeah, sorry,
anyway.
it's a spirit.
The Japanese yokai, I feel like, traditionally get a little weirder than most American spirits. A lot of American spirits have some kind of rhyme or reason to them, but a lot of yokai just kind of do whatever the hell they want most of the time.
Yeah, including like killing the poor, killing the weak, killing the sick with the instant kill drug.
Yeah, they synthesized the instant kill drug there. So the Hat Man had this whole thing where he would find people and he would enlist people to do things for him. But he would usually betray them at the end of it. Like he would tell them to go find this or that or to do this deed, and he'd promise to either reward them or just leave them alone. And then after they do that, he goes, ha-ha, and then he just kills them anyway. So, but the reason people do it is because maybe he won't kill you. He was a very cruel spirit in the dream. So I become accosted by the Hat Man. In this dream, I'm some nameless Yabi character. I'm not, obviously not myself. And there's a girl I know from the Nebula school that we're going to who also gets accosted, and he enlists us to retrieve two separate artifacts, but we meet up in our respective journeys, and we
It's a
find out
fucked
that we're
up
both
pyramid
being
scheme that
told
he's got going on here.
by the Hat Man to find these things. He's just profiting, basically. And
Yeah.
we have this whole adventure, or at least I think we have this adventure. I don't really remember it, but suffice to say, in the narrative blockchain, there is this space where my mind tells me we had an adventure. And then when we have all the artifacts, I say to the girl, I'll deliver these to the Hat Man. And if something goes wrong, his wrath will fall on me. You just get out of here. And she says, all right, yeah, that great.
It's a
Thanks.
beautiful story
She
about human
leaves.
kindness and sacrifice.
Well, the thing is, my character had a plan as well.
Right.
So the Hat Man shows up, and I offer him the items, and I
Beautiful
say,
story
"Well,
about human perseverance.
I don't need or expect a reward. I only ask that my life and the life of the girl be spared." And then the Hat Man laughs, and he says, "Nah, dude, I'm gonna kill you." And I say, "Why?" Well, he doesn't say it like that, but he basically says it like that, right? He's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna kill you." And I said, "Well, why though?" And
I'm just
he
imagining
says, "Well,
he
you
delivers it
think
like in the same cadence as like Mr. Boss in that one Smiling Friends clip where he's like, "Hey, relax. I was just gonna shoot you in the head and kill you."
Well, he's yeah, but Mr. Boss, when he delivers that line, he almost seems like he doesn't understand the full ramifications. The Hat Man's so cruel that he knows exactly what he's doing. He just finds it very funny.
Oh yeah, no,
And
100%.
I said,
Well, Mr. Boss in that scene
well,
is trying to take the nihilist guy down a peg, so I think he does understand. He's just kind of making a show of it, but he's not doing it to be cruel, which is like a
yeah,
distinction from the
but
Hat Man.
yeah. So the Hat Man though, he says he's going to do this, and I say, well, why though? I mean, we did everything that you asked. Aren't you at least partially honor bound to honor some part of your bargain? And he says, well, you must confuse me for an American spirit. I'm a yokai. That means I can do whatever the fuck I want. Ever heard of the slit-mouthed woman?
Did he actually say that?
He didn't say, like I say, he didn't say exactly that, but he communicated essentially that.
No. I mean, did he make a distinction between American yokai and Japanese yokai or whatever?
Yes, he did. He said, I am
American
not one of your
spirits.
American spirits. I'm a yokai. That means I can do whatever the hell I want when I want it.
That's really fucking funny.
And I mean, if you think about it, though, there's so many yokai where shit like that happens. Like the slit-mouthed woman, she says, she has this whole thing where she says, do you think I'm beautiful? And if you say no, she kills you. If you say yes, she reveals that her face is fucked up, and then she asks again, and then it doesn't matter what you say, she kills you anyway. So basically, every single thing that you say ends with her killing you.
Well, maybe the correct answer is to say nothing at all, because then she'll assume you're already dead and she'll leave you alone. Like, the
Yeah, it
soup
could
saying
be, or you
nothing
could
when
just
asked
say,
where
"I don't
Chinese
know,"
Albany
I
is.
think. You maybe saying nothing or saying "I don't know" or giving a sort of nebulous answer could work, but the fact remains that the way that they set up this yokai is essentially
You
like
could
no
say,
win
you
state.
shouldn't
There's
get you
no way
shouldn't
to
get your
really
affirmation.
necessarily get out of it.
Yeah, what if you told the yokai, you shouldn't get your affirmation from other people. You should only get your affirmation from yourself. You give it a pep talk, then it will let you go. 100%.
I feel like 50-50 chance she kills you anyway. They're just like that. They just do what they want. So,
Yeah, no,
or at
I
least
get
that's
you.
how I saw them compared to American spirits. So then the last thing that I say is fine. All right, if you're really going to kill me, then I guess there's no way out of it, but I'll let you in on something. Our technology is as alien to you as it is to us, and I've been recording this entire encounter. And if I die, it gets out, and everyone knows that you're the type of guy who sends people on fetch quests and then just kills them anyway. So any bargaining power that you had with other people is going to be completely gone, and no one's going to want to do anything for you anymore because I'll be an example to the rest of the world of what happens, that you just go ahead and go back on every deal you ever make just because you can and want
Right,
to.
because it's not like the other people who died could have told anyone that, could have like given out a warning, like they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead, and there's no footage of it necessarily, but I have footage of it. Now there's concrete evidence, and then people will just collectively realize, the Hat Man,
You've
he
broken
can't be
his
trusted.
pyramid
We have
scheme.
to, yeah. and he gets so mad, muscles bulge beneath his skin and engorge under his body and break through his clothing, and he hulks out and he says that if I value my life, I better start running immediately. I leave, and there's just an
Like he
explosion
wasn't going to
behind
kill
me.
you before. It's no less of a
Well, I
threat than the
think
one he
maybe
was
he was
already
doing this
making.
to save face. Maybe he was doing this to save face because he knew he'd actually lost, but he wanted to make a show of the fact that he's still powerful.
Right.
So he basically told me to run as fast as I could, and I did, and there was an explosion, and I never saw the Hat Man again, supposedly, in the story.
He just self-destructed out of anger.
I think
also
he
like
was still around. He just
maybe he just
caused
left
an
out of
explosion,
shame.
blew something up out of rage, because he'd been foiled.
I mean, I gotta give you some credit. I mean, hats off, you could say, for that
Yeah,
scheme. That's what he
very.
said. That's what he said when he left this world. He was like, hats off, and then he blasted off into space because he couldn't take the shame. That was what the
Very
explosion was. He went on a
sensitive of you
fucking
to
space
say.
shuttle.
I'll
Well, I mean, he
remember
was gonna
this.
kill you.
No, you're making light though of my terrible, life-threatening encounter with the Hat
Oh,
Man. You
I'm
turning it
sorry.
into.
I'm sorry. I just think it's
I
kind of
think that's
funny.
very rude of you.
I think it's kind of funny how like
Well, I'm glad that you found my
not
near-death
that part.
experience to
No,
be
no, no,
brutal.
no, no, no. Now I'm making fun of other people's death experiences. Not near death because they actually died. So I like the implication that like there's like a whole network of people just waiting to get in touch with the Hat Man, and then they turn away from it when they see the proof that no one makes it out alive. But like, haven't they noticed that people working with the Hat Man haven't been showing up? Like they've been going missing.
Well, the Hat Man has sort of a decentralized network. He goes to one or two people who are generally loners, and he asks them for something, and he threatens them if they don't comply. Then they
Right.
do that thing, and he either leaves them alone or he kills them. They don't really
Wait, so he doesn't
communicate between
always kill
victims.
them?
He doesn't always kill them, but he kills them a lot of the time. And
So
the
it is really a
legend,
gamble. Okay.
yeah, it is a gamble of whether or not he does it.
That's interesting. So it's not like he kills everyone. That kind of does cover his tracks, and the way he set it up is quite smart. He's a smart lad. He wasn't
Yeah.
smart enough for you, though. That's evident.
Or modern technology is, I
Yeah, or
guess, the
modern
other thing,
technology.
because he didn't understand that we had devices capable of recording, so that was kind of his downfall there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think
Anyway,
that's
that's
a
it.
good place to stop, right?
Yep. The Hat Man's downfall. It's about time we got to take that guy down a peg. Next,
Yeah, just like Hitler. Next Hitler. Yeah, many people don't know this,
All right.
but they're actually in league with each other, you know?
No,
No,
I was one of the
Hitler
people
never.
who didn't know that.
Yeah, Hitler never actually killed himself. The Hat Man told him to kill all those people. And then when he did all that, he went to the Hat Man and he was like, okay, so what's my reward? Are you going to give me 1,000-year Reich? And then the Hat Man was like, fuck no, man. And then he just killed him.
Fuck no, man, but I'll give you this. And he stabs him in the front. Stabs him in the back, lays him down, he sucks the toes, he puts his tongue in the funny bone. He does all of it.
Oh,
He goes
God.
through the
Yeah,
whole
no, the Hat
routine.
Man.
Yeah.
The Hat Man is
would do
really
it.
an evil
He would. He's the
motherfucker.
one who goes that low.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really feel
Disgusting.
bad for Adolf over here, but like the fact that he's even willing to do that to anyone is the fucked up part.
Yeah.
Like that could be
yeah.
you next
And
time.
he told Adolf right before Adolf died that he took horse science seriously as well.
Oh. Now
Just to
that is
really
just
rub
not
it in.
okay.
The final nail in the coffin. It's very bad.
Yeah. I mean that's
Yeah.
why you really outsmarted him. Because he said horse science was to be taken seriously,
He
not
needed
because
to
he
be
was going to kill
outsmarted.
you.
Someone did it.
Yeah, not because he was going to kill you. That part was actually fine. You were going to let it happen. But when you found out about the horse science thing, I mean, that's when he crossed the line.
Yeah, I was gonna let it slide, but I changed my mind, changed my tune once I heard how vile he really was.
Exactly. Well, anyway, thanks for coming on, Andrew. Always nice to have you. I think we had some interesting things to say.
We
That's for
certainly
sure.
had.
We certainly had. All right, see you next time.
See ya.
All right, everyone, make sure to well, I can't really link Andrew anywhere, but one day I might be able to. Who knows? Who knows? Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to Andrew for coming on the show again. See you next time. Bye.